Welcome to the Logging the Backlog video for May 2022. This series is where I take a look at what I've played over the last month. We just got finished up with May, so let's take a look at what I've played during that month. I felt like it was a somewhat productive month as I started and completed a few games and had some fun playing some old favorites with family. So let's take a look at what I played. To start, let's look at games I've completed this month. This can either mean that I've completed the story of a game, achieved all of the trophies or achievements of the game, or I just moved on from it because I was done playing it, at least for now. So this month I have 3 games that fall in this category. The first is Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon. Here's a game that I started, finished, and earned all the trophies on in 1 month. This is a game that takes a lot of inspiration from the early Castlevania games on the NES, particularly Castlevania 3. I loved those games growing up and found this to be an enjoyable homage to the games while bringing some more modern elements into the mix as well. Definitely a game that I enjoyed, and you'll be seeing a video talking more about it next week. The second game is Wolfenstein 3D. Wolfenstein was a carryover from last month. I wanted to at least play until I beat Hitler at the end of the 3rd episode. After that, I wanted to move on and create my recommendation video for it that I put up last week. The other episodes that are still there, there's still 4, 5, and 6. They are pretty much more of the same fun as the first 3, but since I had beaten the game before this, I decided that I could use my time elsewhere and just kind of dropped it for now. Third game is Elea. This is another game that I wound up starting, finishing, and getting all the trophies for. It's kind of a hard game to describe. It's firmly science fiction, but not really very action oriented. It's more of a narrative driven game, but the story is kind of obtuse. You're trying to find the husband of Elea, who you're playing as, who is part of a crew trying to colonize a habitable planet a number of years ago. It's a fairly short game, but still plays slower than it really should. Walking around with Elea is so slow sometimes. The story is just not very rewarding, and even though I did complete all of the trophies, even they were more finicky than they should have been. Overall, it just wasn't a very enjoyable experience, and I wouldn't really recommend Elea to others. So those are the games that I completed for this month. Next, I will focus in on the games that I've been playing through the story of. There are 2 games that I'm currently working through at the moment. The first is Ashen, which Ashen is another carryover from last month, and unfortunately I kind of hit a wall with the game and haven't really been able to progress. I'm trying to beat the boss at the Palace of Latharus and have been failing quite a lot, and don't really know how to improve enough to beat him. So this struggle and the fact that it takes a long time to even get to the boss from the save point has really cooled me off on the game. I am hoping to keep at it and finish it hopefully, but it has been kind of hard to get motivated to try to do it lately. I think partly because I've been a little bit busier lately with doing things with family and things like that, so trying to find a long stretch of time where I'm willing to like get to the boss and then keep trying to actually beat it has just not really happened this last month with school ending and things like that going on. So I'm hoping that I'll get back to it, but I don't know exactly when or whether I'll be more successful on it. Number 2 is Concrete Genie. This game I just started near the end of the month, but so far I have really enjoyed it. While it's not big enough to call an open world exactly, at least not for me, it does have that kind of feel to it. Instead of fighting enemies though, you're mainly revitalizing a town called Denska, which has been taken over by some unexplained darkness that has been infected and made it uninhabitable. You play as a boy named Ash who gains the power to paint with a magic paintbrush that allows him to create genies and have his paintings come to life. And with this power, you're seeking to bring life back to Denska to kind of fight that darkness off and bring life and light back to the town. I haven't really made it too far in the story, so I'm not really sure exactly where things go, but I am looking forward to playing more and finding out. It's a colorful, creative game that brings an interesting concept to play around with. So next are the games that I've been playing online. These are games that don't exactly have a story and are games I play off and on through the month. These are exactly the same as last month's, except for one game, so I won't spend too much time on them. The first is Fortnite. Now, I've been basically playing to try to get levels in Chapter 3 Season 2 for May. I didn't really make it as far as I have in other seasons this time. Our family just hasn't been playing it as much as we used to recently. It's still regularly played. We still usually play it probably at least once, maybe twice a week, but other games have been stealing time here and there, and as well as being busy sometimes and just not having the time to do it as much as we used to. So I'm not as far as what I did. I did make level 100 and get that all done, but I didn't get quite as far as some previous seasons. Number 2 is Splitgate. While I did play some Splitgate this month, it was mostly to log in and keep my login and experience bonus, which meant playing like 1 match a day at least. but that was really about it. I had finished the Battle Pass last month, so I really didn't have a lot more than I wanted to accomplish in it, so I played it basically enough to kind of keep my streak up, and I enjoyed playing it, but I didn't really have any goals, so I kind of just played a round or two a day and left it at that. Number 3 is Brawlhalla. Basically, it's kind of a similar thing, not quite as often as Splitgate, but I play a round or two, maybe a couple times a week. I'm mainly just trying to get 3 characters up to level 25, but that takes quite a bit of time, and I'm not really wanting to just grind out the game because it gets kind of old, at least for me. I'm not good enough at it to enjoy playing it for really long periods of time. I'm keeping on doing that this past month, but that's about it. Number 4 is Gems of War. And for Gems of War, I was able to unlock all the different classes. You can like assign a class to your main character who has a weapon that you can use as one of the characters in your battles. And so I unlocked the last class for that this month. So I'm kind of happy that I did that. I don't really know where I want to go from here, but I was at least happy to finally get all of those unlocked this month, and I'll be probably working on leveling some of them up in the near future, but I don't really know what else. The 5th game that I played online has been Bloons TD6. Now, my son has recently been obsessed with Bloons TD6, which naturally got everyone either back into the game or into it for the first time. Bloons TD6 is a tower defense game where monkeys are trying to pop balloons before they exit the path. Like all tower defense games, it can get quite challenging as modes and levels can get increasingly difficult. You can also play co-op as well, which makes for an enjoyable time, as we've been able to do as a family a few times, which has been a lot of fun. If you're a fan of tower defense, I would definitely recommend the game. It's a bit of a random theme, but it is a lot of fun and quite deep in features and tower upgrades. It's also very bright and colorful, so if you're into that kind of art style, then that's also a lot of fun. And so yeah, I really enjoyed getting back into it this month. I've played it before, but with my son kind of getting a little bit obsessed with it and kind of bringing, you know, co-op to the table and being willing to do that, we've played it a little bit more, and I've played it a little bit more just even on my own to try to level up some of my monkeys and get some maps beaten. So yeah, so that was the last online game that I played this month. The next category is one that I would call trophy or achievement games, where I'm just working on finishing up with trophies or achievements, even though I'm technically done with the game. I've beaten the story maybe, or there just is no kind of end to the game, so I'm just working on trying to grind out some of the last trophies that I need. And the game that I did that with this month was Overcooked 2. Now, Overcooked, whether you're playing the first or the second one, is a cooperative cooking game where you're trying to place orders in a level with all kinds of crazy obstacles or little quirks that you have to take into consideration to complete the level. I was able to get the Platinum trophy for the game in May, but I'm still working on some of the DLC trophies for the game, so that'll probably take me at least a little while to get through some of them. And yeah, I was able to get a few this month too, so I was pretty happy with that. The last category this month are what I call endless games. They are games that don't have any set endpoint. They are simply games I enjoy playing on my own or with others, and will probably be playing off and on for some time until I get tired of them. And then even then, there's no guarantee I won't come back to them after that a little bit. So let's see what we've got here. The first of these is Rock Band 4. Yes, we still play Rock Band. In fact, we've had a bit of a resurgence of the game in our house as our kids have become old enough to play it more regularly. We all really like music in our house, and so getting to play all kinds of songs, even if it's on plastic instruments, has been a lot of fun for us. Sure, our guitars are rather old and maybe not in perfect shape, but we've still had a good time with the game. I really wish we could get some newer guitars and to be able to, you know, replace some of our old ones and make it a bit more enjoyable, but we're making do and enjoying ourselves in the process. The second game here is, and the final game for what I've been playing in May, has been the Jackbox Party Pack. I know there are a bunch of these out there now. I think it's like up to 8 or 9, but we just recently started playing the first one as a family and have been having a lot of fun with it. The game is a bunch of party games that allow you to face off with friends and family. Some examples are just kind of a basic trivia game, a game that has you make up lies as answers to a question, and a riff on Pictionary. The game is a bit inappropriate and has a bit of a teenage or older kind of humor, so be aware of that going into it. This is a set of party games with attitude, and that makes it a lot of fun, but also not necessarily for younger kids. I do think later games have a family-friendly filter on them, but the first entry does not have that feature, so just kind of know what you're getting yourself into. So that's what I've been playing for May of 2022. You'll notice that I have quite the variety again, but as I said previously, this is rather normal for me. So what have you been playing? Are you playing new releases, games out of your backlog, some old favorites, or a variety of games like I have this month? I'd love to hear from you in the comments about what games you've been playing recently. So thanks for taking a look at this video. If you've enjoyed watching it, I put out recommendations and other video game content like this every week, so you can subscribe and keep up with any new releases that I put out. So thanks, and I hope you're having a great day.